Currently, I'm in Eldoret. That's my hometown, and the price that has been offered by National Cereals, I think it's around 3,500. National Cereals also has capacity on how much it can handle, and usually when you look at how the supply chain goes, it's the large-scale farmers who drop their maize or their cereals first. So what happens? The farmer who is in the rural area cannot afford to hire lorries to go to cereals. So for that farmer, the most important thing is to get the maize out of the shamba as quick as possible and off to the market. So if the cereals is offering 3,500, and you'll assume a broker is taking the maize to the cereals, you'll offer, as a broker, you'll offer the farmer 2,500 or even 2,000, because you're taking the risk of transportation from the farm. You're taking the risk of drying the maize, and also other incidental costs, including cess by counties. So farmers are feeling the pinch, because normally the cost of that, for you to make a profit on that bag, I think you have to sell it at 4,000, especially if you are a small scale farmer. So what the government is doing, the government is looking at the consumer and saying, we have provided you cheap unga, and you have the purchasing power to afford cheap unga. And even, I think right now, even wheat is quite cheap in the supermarket. But then what does it mean for the farmer? This farmer has toiled for 3-4 months. They have spent money, although they have had subsidized fertilizer. There are some who do not have access to that subsidized fertilizer. These farmers also have loans. They have kids that they school. So at the end of the day, the same people you are trying to save from poverty are they're in a cycle of poverty. And then, once you supply, even if you supply to the national cereals will pay you after some time. So there is also the cost of money, the cost of government keeping your money, just like KCC, just like KTDA. If someone stays with your money for 30 days, what do you expect? You expect interest. That is something that the government does not pay, unless you are Kengen or someone else, or Adani. So the plight of the farmer is that I don't think, yes, this regime will give you cheap food. Of course, they'll give you cheap food, and but at the end of the day, what does it mean for a market economy? A market economy is one that the government does not have so much control on the price of the item. And I'm sure this regime argues that agriculture is controlled all over the world, including in America, so why don't we? But then you don't realize that the government controlling all other aspects of the economy, including the fuel industry, which is a major input in agricultural produce. So you have a 80 shilling tax on every liter of fuel, the same fuel that is being used by tractors that farm machinery. So at some point, I listened to the president and I asked myself, does this man know what he's talking about? Because one of the ways Ruto can prop up the agricultural economy is by making sure that fuel is very cheap. And the only way to make fuel is very cheap in this country is by reducing at the levies by half. If today the government sits down and says we are going to reduce the taxes imposed on fuel by 40 shillings, you will see the agricultural sector prospering. And that's the problem, because as I said before, the government is giving you one thing with one hand and taking it with the other. And some of the questions I've been asking myself from a policy perspective: why is the government buying maize? Why don't they let people who deal with maize to buy maize? If they want to offer a service, they can offer storage services. Secondly, is the question of why does government want to be setting prices of some food items and leaving the others? So if the government is buying from maize farmers, isn't it buying from avocado farmers? Yes, and if KTDA is making so much money and it can afford to pay farmers bonuses, why is the government providing KTDA with fertilizer? So the government has to sit down and form a coherent policy when it comes to the support it gives agricultural farmers, because it cannot give you free fertilizer and the same take it away through fuel prices, at the same time take your right to property through cheap agricultural prices. So if once they come up with a policy, then I think that's the way forward in terms of supporting agriculture. Thank you.